Hello again, Pirate Nation. Happy 2017, a very special edition, first episode of the new year. And Dylan, as any new year, people have resolutions. I know mine was to eat healthier, run every day, study in school, but we'll see how that goes on. But for basketball's sake, both basketball teams, the resolution is to win, and it hasn't been as easy for both basketball squads. Starting with the women's side, Dylan, Coach Bozzella has not seen a victory in all of 2017. 0-6, losing 6 straight games, 2 at home and 4 away. They sit at 8-10, 1-6 in the Big East Conference. That's tied for last place. This is unfamiliar territory for Coach B.
Well, it's a young team. You had to start with that. You lost your 4 top scorers coming into this season, but it's a tough start to the year. You knew you were going to have the ups and downs from the women's team. Losing 6 straight is a little uncharacteristic. Obviously, his teams in the past few seasons, something that we don't expect in new territory, like you said, for Seton Hall.
What are you looking for this team to, turn around the bad flow of games that they've had? I mean, are you looking for a specific player? Jaquan Jackson, she's second in Big East scoring. Kayla Hilaire is third in assists in the conference. Are you looking for someone to step up, or is this a more team cohesive thing that they have to go through and play hard to win the games?
Well, defensively, I think they've been okay. I think you have to look for more production from T.T. Smith. You have to look for more production from Libertia Gordon, 2 players that were on the team last season and kind of were shaped last season to take over the team this season. I know you brought in Jaquan Jackson, but the production hasn't been there. T.T. Smith only at like 8 or 9 points a game. Libertia Gordon only 6 or 7 rebounds a game. You think those numbers will be higher because those were the roles that Coach B were looking coming into the season?
Well, good news for Coach B and his squad is that their next 4 games will be at home right here in front of us at Walsh Gymnasium. Starting off with Providence on Friday at 7 p.m. You can watch that on Fox Sports 2 if you're not able to make it live at the game. And Providence, Dylan, is tied with Seton Hall for last place in the conference. So this is a great opportunity to get off on the right foot again and start getting that momentum once again. What are you looking for this team to get that victory at home?
Well, first of all, you play to the home crowd. The energy is going to be there. And like I said, if the production as a team steps up, it's going to be great. But defensively, it's the key for me. This team can force turnovers pretty well. And you look at Providence is 1-6 as well, a chance to move up. And you have to defend the 3. Providence shoots the 3 well. You don't foul them. They also lead in free throw shooting in the Big East as well. So defensively, if you can limit those things, I think Seton Hall has a great chance to get a win on the board.
You mentioned the Seton Hall defense. They are leading the Big East Conference in steals, so Coach B will look for the defense to step up as well. And Coach Bozzella will look to stay undefeated against Providence. He's 7-0. And now, Dylan, we're moving on to the men's side. And the men started off really well. Started 2-0 in the new year of 2017 with victories over Marquette and DePaul at home. But then that tough road trip that they had, 3 games in 6 days, Dylan. That's a professional NBA schedule. Kevin Willard even stated himself, he looked dead after the 3rd game in Villanova. He felt like he was a professional team traveling around the nation. And Dylan, let's recap real quick. Lost at Marquette in overtime, even when they had the momentum going into overtime with Marquette struggling with foul trouble and Seton Hall getting the momentum of tying the game late in the second half, and then you lose at Providence. That's just a mental breakdown afterwards for the team. It was a bad performance all around. And then you go at number 1 ranked Villanova. Yes, it's a tough environment to play in, but they lose by 30 points. Yeah. It was not a good way to start off the first half of Big East Conference play. And to add salt to the wound, Angel Delgado's 11 straight double-doubles came to an end as he did not perform very well, along with the rest of the team, really, at Villanova. Dylan, let me ask you, are we pressing the panic button right now, or is it too early to say yet? I mean, last year, you remember Seton Hall didn't start off too well in Big East Conference play, but they were to bounce back, led by Isaiah Whitehead. But this year, the Big East is a totally different monster. There's a lot of tough teams, regardless of the position that they're in. So let me ask you, is it a panic button, or should we wait?
I don't think so. First of all, any road game in the Big East is tough. I was talking to friends about this. Anytime you have to travel and go on the road, it's tough. First, you start with Marquette, who you just beat previously at home by a close margin. Marquette's where Seton Hall is, you would think, in the Big East, around the same spot. It's a tough environment. They come from being down 10 with about 4 minutes to go. I believe Kenan Carrington fouled out in that game. You lose his leadership. You go into Providence, you expect them to win that game. I thought at the Dunkin' Donuts Center, but Providence put in a good effort. And then you lose those 2 games close. think if they just win one of those games, how different this road trip would be. And Villanova, first of all, they're the number one team in the country for a reason. They have won 47 straight games now at the Pavilion. And you also look, they're kind of a Seton Hall 2.0 in my opinion. They're balanced, scoring like Seton Hall is, but Josh Hart, so good. Obviously, Big East Player of the Year last year. It's a tough environment. Losing by 30 is tough, but I think they've ran out of energy. Coach Willard even said it after the game. They're looking forward to rest a little bit after that game and then attack St. John's.
Yeah, it will be much needed rest. And Dylan, let me ask you, there's a lot of questions right now with Madison Jones in the line. Because the other four, we have to agree that they're the untouchables in terms of starting week in and week out. Do you think there should be a change? Do you think it should be Javon Thomas or Miles Powell getting in the 5th spot over Madison Jones? Kevin Willard said he does not want to change his team, but he was calling out his bench a little bit, especially Miles Powell, who has not been shooting very well as of late. What do you think should Kevin Willard stick with the starting 5 that he has in the rotation? They did lose some players over the winter break, but regardless, I mean, the bench has not been performing. Do they need to push to start, or are they going to be punished and stay on the bench and let Madison Jones just handle the ball in the point guard position?
I think the move you could make is to move Javon Thomas into the lineup, possibly spark something after you lose 3 road. I know 3 road games in a row, but it's still 3 losses in a row. I would possibly move Thomas into the lineup. He's a veteran who's played before. I know he's just came back this semester and all that saga there, but I think you have to move him into the lineup. I think maybe it sparks the bench, bring Madison Jones off the bench. And Miles Powell's a freshman. He's going to have an up and down season. We saw his outbreaks in non-conference season. He has struggled as of late, but that's how the team's been. It's going to be an up and down season. We said that coming in. And I think he'll turn it around by at the end of Big East and Big East tournament time, and possibly if they could get into the NCAA.
So big 2 games coming up for Seton Hall. They start at home on Sunday in the afternoon slot against St. John's, which is pretty much a derby, you could say.
Yeah.
St. John's has given Seton Hall a scare the past 2 or 3 years, and it's a completely different team from last year, led by Shamori Pons, the freshman as well. And then after that, there's a game against ranked Butler at home on Wednesday night. Dylan, do you think this team can respond from the previous 3 losses, or are they going to continue to struggle here at home at Prudential Center?
I think they beat St. John's. I think it's a game wouldn't call it a must-win, but you think it's getting close there after returning and getting some rest. And then Butler's going to be tough. I know Kevin Willard struggled against Butler in his career as a head coach at Seton Hall.
It looks like they're kryptonite almost.
I don't know. I don't think they'll beat Butler in my honest opinion, obviously, but they're a ranked team. They're tough, and I think they'll go 1-1 over the next 2 games.
Well, the Big East Conference is a different beast this year. Definitely one of the toughest conferences in the nation. So if Seton Hall wants to get a quick response and let the doubters know that this team is for real, they must improve and get 2 victories at home and then go on from there game by game. So that'll do it for the very first episode of 2017. He's Dylan Schreibman. I'm Olvera. Follow more content week in and week out. We'll see you next time.